All right, guys. So we've done segments in the past where every now and then you'll have libertarians come out and keep it real about Trump and be like, yeah, this is fucked up, shouldn't be doing this shit or that shit. Dave Smith famously said he should be impeached after, what was it? I think it was the Iran bombings. He said he should be impeached, and I think he apologized for supporting him. But look, since then, and this is my eternal frustration with not just libertarians, but a lot of people who are Trump critical and on the right, what they'll do is, like, they'll have these big moments, I disagree and I'm standing up against it. But then, like, the next time Trump does some epic own the lib shit or does some stupid, like, anti-immigrant shit, they start going, based, I like him now again. And it's just back, forth. And so you can never trust these people as far as you can throw. I mean, that's just a fact, right? Even when they sever, they never really fully sever ties. Now, having said that, Ron Paul is like, I guess what I should say is, Thomas Massie is the new version of Ron Paul. Like a more principled libertarian. Like Rand isn't as principled as Ron is, right? And so he's a little bit more about that hardcore libertarian life. And he doesn't mince words when he disagrees. So here, he's on his show, The Liberty Report, and he's talking about Trump. And specifically, they're referring to the Venezuela action here and Trump stealing the oil and all that stuff. And he's going to say it, bro. This is the hardest I've ever seen anybody on the right go in the paint against Trump. Listen to what he says about what Trump is engaged in with these corporations that are going to profit off of Venezuela by stealing their shit. Watch.
The seizing of this oil, and then how ecstatic the business people are. I think so much of corporatism, that's a soft term, but what about the early stages of fascism?
Ron Paul, the stalwart libertarian hero, just accused Trump and MAGA of being fascists. Let me ask you guys a question. Why does it have to be like an 178-year-old guy who's no longer in Congress has to be the one who's like the moral conscience of what's supposed to be the reasonable right? In other words, what about all you other fucking Republicans out there, right? You got Marjorie Taylor Greene standing up to Trump for 7 seconds, immediately dropping out of Congress, being like, I'm outski. Like, what do they have on you? Are they going to blackmail you with some shit? Why'd you leave, right? You got Thomas Massie, who's a lot like Ron Paul, credit to him. Oftentimes he does. He led on the Epstein files with Ro Khanna, so he's on some issues, he's definitely one of the good ones. But outside of that, like, they're all fucking cucks, and they're all cheering the fascism, and they all love the fascism. Let's be serious. If you had to fucking bet on these people to save the country by showing any semblance of morality, the country would just implode. Like, it wouldn't happen. They wouldn't come and save the country. But shout out to Ron Paul, man. Keeping it real here.
You couldn't possibly use those words. It's that advancement to accepting government and big business as close partnership that I see clearly as they've gotten a big boost on this.
So what he's referring to there is the old Mussolini definition of fascism, where Mussolini famously said, it's like the corporations and the government are married together, right? And they're one and the same. And then you also have the immense warmongering and the deprivation of rights at home. All that stuff is true too. But on the economic front, yes, it's like the corporations and the government are sort of one and the same. They're together. And here you have Trump openly saying, repeat it, we're going to take the oil, and we're going to give it to ExxonMobil, we're going to give it to Citgo, we're going to give it to BP, we're going to give it to Chevron. They're going to take the oil, we're going to make money off the oil, it's going to be amazing. I'll personally control, he said this, I'm not kidding, I'll personally control the oil money. That's what I'll do to look out for the people of Venezuela and America. Right. The guy who crypto scammed his own supporters in this country to the tune of billions of dollars. He's looking out for your best interest. People of Venezuela and America. Jesus Christ. But here's Ron Paul correctly saying, this is fascism. Now, not to be too much of an asshole here, because I love that he said this, but like, there were signs this was fascism from like fucking day one he got in office, bro. From day one. What this motherfucker has done with ICE, basically turning them into his personal Gestapo, rounding up innocent people, throwing them in concentration camps, no due process, blowing off court orders completely, using the U.S. military to invade United States cities. All this stuff has gone on under him. All this stuff. You have people in his Justice Department who are on the record as saying, don't listen to the judge when they tell you to do this thing. They're on the record. So this has been going on, bro. It's a little, it's a little too late in this moment, right? But at the same time, I'll take it because nobody else on the right is really making that much sense except every now and then Thomas Massie. So, damn. But the fact that you know it's bad when the libertarians are starting to go, You know what? You know what? It's a little fashy, isn't it? It's a little fashy. Look, I know I've said this in the past. I'll say it again. This is like heresy to people of the libertarian community, but I think it's true. I never understood why libertarians didn't vote more with the Democrats than the Republicans. I literally never understood that. Because Democrats, on the social issues, Democrats do what libertarians want them to do, right? On the social issues, you know, they're pro-choice, so get the government out when it comes to you making decisions for your own body. It was the Democrats who led the way when it came to legalizing marijuana across the country, or at the very least decriminalizing marijuana. But at the state level, you know, it's Democrats who led on stuff like that. Civil liberties, Democrats led way more than Republicans. It was George W. Bush and the neocons and the Republicans who really started shitting on the Constitution, ripping it to shreds, getting rid of your civil liberties, getting rid of due process, getting rid of habeas corpus, right? So on the social issues, libertarians are more in line with Democrats on foreign policy, on social policy and on civil liberties issues. But yeah, even on foreign policy, I grant that both parties are kind of hawkish, but there's no denying that the Republican Party is way more hawkish than the Democratic Party. They started the original war in Iraq. They started the Gulf War, Iraq War 1.0, Iraq War 2.0, now the illegal and offensive overthrowing of Venezuela. They were the ones who did the bombing of random fishermen, killing over 100 people and bombing over 30 boats. Like, there's at least Joe Biden at least pulled out of Afghanistan, for example, nearly eliminated the drone war. So yes, I get it. Democrats and libertarians totally disagree on the economy because libertarians are all in favor of, like, basically don't have any government regulation whatsoever. Yeah, we're never going to agree with them on that ever, right? But if you actually prioritize civil liberty stuff and if you prioritize foreign policy stuff, I would argue there's more overlap between the Democrats and libertarians than there is between libertarians and Republicans. Because libertarians and Republicans, I mean, shit. You hate their warmongering. You hate their taking away civil liberties and rights. You hate their position on social issues because they're incredibly authoritarian on social issues. What do you agree with them on? Like, cutting the funding for child cancer research? Really? That's gonna be the line you vote down? Hey, I disagree with them on a lot of things, but at least they cut that child cancer funding. At least they're in favor of deregulation of everything. Like, I don't know, man. What do you prioritize? But anyway, Ron Paul, keeping it real. And it's crazy. Like I said, 178-year-old dude, he has to be the only reasonable voice on the right, as the right has just wholly embraced rank fascism and authoritarianism. And they've become like a sadistic, satanic, evil id. That's what the entire party is. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.